Okay, I know this is not my usual setting. This is not how I usually read. I know it's kind of dark, and then I have a screen with light so I can still read. This is gonna end up being in 2 parts because I suck at editing and I'm not gonna try to blend the videos. That was my dad. Anyways, I'm not gonna try to blend the videos together. So I'm gonna pick up where I left off previously. Sorry, I got a notification and the title was weird, but I'm gonna pick up where I left off. I know the first part ended pretty abruptly. So I'm gonna try to start reading again, and I have ambiance in the backgrounds. If you can't hear, that's not actually coming from outside. It's not actually raining. Hold up. I'm gonna put my hair back. So it looks like I don't have a shirt on, and I don't like that. Okay, where's my nearby? There it is. It's blended at the table. Okay, no, I'm not doing that. I will. The bangs are just gonna be a tad bit in my way. Put this on right way. That would be really helpful. If I could do that without creaking sounds, because that's kind of scary. I don't want this to break. It's really cute. Okay. I think it's high up enough. It's not gonna tickle the back of my neck. Okay. We're picking up off page 73. Second paragraph. Dangerous. Okay. Dangerous, I murmured again, trying to fit the word to the person in front of me. Her porcelain face was still vulnerable, without walls or secrets. Her eyes were wide now, anticipating my reaction. She seemed to be bracing herself for some kind of impact. But not the villain, I whispered. No, I don't believe that. You're wrong. Her voice was almost inaudible. She looked down, reaching out to steal the lid for my lemonade, which she then spun like a top between her fingers. I took advantage of her inattention to stare some more. She meant what she was saying. That was obvious. She wanted me to be afraid of her. What I felt most was fascinated. There were some nerves, of course, being close to her. Fear of making a fool of myself, but all I wanted... Oh, my nose itches. But all I wanted was to sit here forever. To listen to her voice and watch the expressions fly across her face. So much faster than I could analyze them. So, of course, that was when I took the notice that the cafeteria was almost empty. I shoved my chair away from the table and she looked up. She seemed sad, but resigned. Like this was the reaction she'd been waiting for. We're gonna be late, I told her, scrambling to my feet. She was surprised for just a second, and then the now familiar amusement was back. I'm not going to class today. Her fingers twirled the lid so fast that it was just a blur. Why not? She smiled up at me, but her eyes were not entirely disguised. I could still see the stress behind her facade. It's healthy to ditch class now and then, she said. Oh, well, I guess I should go. Was there another option? I wasn't much for ditching, but if she asked me to... She turned her attention back to the makeshift top. I'll see you later, then. That sounded like a dismissal, and I wasn't totally against being dismissed. There was so much to think about, and I didn't do my best thinking with her near. The first bell rang, and I hurried to the door. I glanced back once to see that she hadn't moved at all, and the lid was still spinning in a tight circle like it would never stop. As I half ran to class, my head was still spinning just as fast. So few questions had been answered. None, really. And when I thought about it, I'm sorry, it's late. Okay. None, really, when I thought through it. But so many more had been raised. I was lucky. The teacher wasn't in the room when I ran in late. Face hot. Both Alan and Michaela were staring at me. Alan with surprise, almost awe, and Michaela with resentment. Mrs. Banner made her entrance then, calling the class to order while juggling a bunch of cardboard boxes in her hands. She let the boxes fall onto Michaela's table and asked her to start passing them around the class. Okay, guys, I want you all to take one piece from each box, she said as she produced a pair of rubber gloves from the pocket of her lab coat and pulled them on. The crack as the glove snapped into place was strangely ominous. The first should be an indicator card, she went on, grabbing a white card about the size of an index card and displaying it to us. It had 4 squares marked on it instead of lines. The second is a 4-pronged applicator. She held something that looked like a nearly toothless hair pick. And the third is a sterile micro lancet. She displayed a small piece of blue plastic before splitting it open. The barb was invisible from this distance, but my stomach plunged. I'll be coming around with a drop of water to prepare your cards, so please don't start until I get to you. She began at Michaela's table again, carefully putting 1 drop of water in each of the 4 squares of Michaela's card. Then I want you to carefully prick your finger with the lancet. She grabbed Michaela's hand and jabbed the spike into the tip of Michaela's middle finger. Ouch, Michaela complained. Clammy moisture broke out across my forehead and my ears began a faint ringing. Put a small drop of blood on each of the prongs. Mrs. Banner demonstrated as she instructed, squeezing Michaela's finger till the blood flowed. I swallowed convulsively, and my stomach heaved. And then apply it to the card, she finished, holding up the dripping red card for us to see. I closed my eyes, trying to hear through the humming in my ears. The Red Cross is having a blood drive in Port Angeles next weekend, so I thought all know your blood type." She sounded proud of herself. "Those of you who aren't 18 yet will still need a parent's permission. I have slips at my desk." She continued through the room with her water dropper. I put my cheek against the cool black tabletop and tried to hold on as everything seemed to get farther away, slithering down a dark tunnel. The squeals, complaints, and giggles as my classmates skewered their fingers all sounded far off in the distance. I breathed slowly in and out through my mouth. "Bo, are you all right?" Mrs. Banner asked. Her voice was close to my head, but still far away, and it sounded alarmed. "I already know my blood type, Mrs. Banner. I'm O negative." I couldn't open my eyes. "Are you feeling faint?" "Yes, ma'am," I muttered, wishing I could kick myself for not ditching when I had the chance. Can someone walk Bo to the nurse, please?" she called. "I will." Even though it was far away, I recognized Michaela's voice. "Can you walk?" Mrs. Banner asked me. "Yes," I whispered. "Just let me get out of here," I thought. "I'll crawl." I felt Michaela grab my hand. I was sure it was all sweaty and gross, but I couldn't care about that yet, and I worked to get my eyes open while she tugged me up. I just had to get out of this room before it went full dark. I stumbled toward the door while Michaela put her arm around my waist, trying to steady me. I put my arm over her shoulders, but she was too short to help my balance much. I tried to carry my own weight as much as possible. Michaela and I lumbered slowly across campus. When we were around the edge of the cafeteria, out of sight of Building 4, in case Mrs. Banner was watching, I stopped fighting. "Just let me sit for a minute, please," I asked. Michaela breathed out a sigh of relief as I settled clumsily on the edge of the walk. "And whatever you do, keep your hand in your pocket," I said. Everything seemed to be swirling dizzily, even when I closed my eyes. I slumped over to one side, putting my cheek against the freezing damp cement of the sidewalk. That helped. "Wow, you're green, Bo," Michaela said nervously. Just give me a minute." "Bo?" A different voice called from the distance. "Oh, please no, not this too." Let me just be imagining that horribly familiar voice. "What's wrong? Is he hurt?" The voice was closer now, and it sounded strangely fierce. I squeezed my eyes shut, hoping to die, or at the very least not to throw up. Michaela sounded stressed. "I think he fainted. I don't know what happened. He didn't even stick his finger." "Bo, can you hear me?" Edith's voice was right by my head now, and she sounded relieved. "No," I groaned. She laughed. "I was trying to help him to the nurse," Michaela explained, defensive, "but it wouldn't go any further." "I'll take him," Edith said, the smile still in her voice. "You can go back to class." "What? No, I'm supposed to..." And then a thin, strong arm was under both of mine, and I was on my feet. Without realizing how I got there, the strong arm, cold like the sidewalk, held me tight against a slim body, almost like a crutch. My eyes flipped open in surprise. All I could see was her tangled bronze hair up against my chest. She started moving forward, and my feet fumbled, trying to catch up. I expected to fall, but she somehow kept me upright. She didn't so much as stagger when my full weight tugged us both forward. Then again, I didn't weigh as much as a van. "I'm good, I swear," I mumbled. Please, let me not vomit on her." "Hey," Michaela called after us, already 10 paces behind. Edith ignored her. "You look simply awful," she told me. I could hear the grin. "Just put me back on the sidewalk," I groaned. I'll be fine in a few minutes. She propelled us quickly forward while I tried to make my feet move in the right pattern to match her speed. A few times I could swear that my feet were actually dragging across the ground, but then I couldn't feel them very well, so I wasn't sure. So you faint at the sight of blood? She asked. Apparently this was hilarious. I didn't answer. I closed my eyes again and fought the nausea, lips clamped together. The most important thing was that I not vomit on her. I could survive everything else. And not even your own blood. She laughed. It was like the sound of a bell ringing. I have a weak vasovagal system, I muttered. It's just an early mediated cinoscope. She laughed again. Apparently the big words I memorized to explain these situations did not impress her the way they were supposed to. I wasn't sure how she got the door open while dragging me, but suddenly it was warm, everywhere except where her body pressed against me. I wished I felt normal so that I could appreciate that more, her body touching mine. I knew that under normal circumstances I would be enjoying this. Oh my, a male voice gasped. He's having an early mediated cinoscope. Syncope? Cinoscope? Am I saying that right? Syncope? I don't know. Cinoscope. I don't know. Anyways. Edith explained brightly. I opened my eyes. I was in the office, and Edith was dragging me past the front counter toward the door at the back of the room. Mr. Cope, the balding receptionist, ran ahead of her to hold it open. He faltered when he heard the dire-sounding diagnosis. Should I call 911? He gasped. It's just a fainting spell. I mumbled. A grandfatherly old man, the school medic, looked up from a novel, shocked. As Edith hauled me into the room, did he notice that she leaned me against the door? Did he notice that when she leaned me against the cot, she half lifted me into place? The crackly paper complained as she pushed me down with one hand against my chest, then turned and swung my feet into the vinyl mattress. My neck hurts. Not many pages left. Quite a few, though. This reminded me of the time she swung my feet out of the way of the van, and the memory made me dizzy. They're blood typing in biology, Edith explained to the nurse. I watched the old man nod sagely. There's always one. Edith covered her mouth and pretended her laugh was a cough. She'd gone to stand across the room from me. Her eyes were bright, excited. Just lie down for a minute, son, the old nurse told me. It'll pass. I know, I muttered. In fact, the dizziness was already beginning to fade. Soon the tunnel would shorten and things would sound normal again. Does this happen a lot? He asked. I sighed. I have a weak vasovagal system. The nurse looked confused. Sometimes, I told him. Edith laughed again, not bothering to disguise it. Ooh, my knee. Oh. Sorry, give me a second, y'all. I need to reposition. Oh. Oh, my knee. Ah, motherfucker. Oh. Okay, I'm good. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Edith laughed again, not bothering to disguise it. "You can go back to class now," the nurse said to her. "I'm supposed to stay with him," Edith answered. She said it with such confidence that, even though he pursed his lips, the nurse didn't argue it further. "I'll get you some ice for your head," he said to me. Then he shuffled out of the room. Okay. I let my eyelids fall shut again. "You were right. I usually am, but what in particular this time? Ditching is healthy. I work to breathe in and out evenly." "You scared me for a minute there," she admitted after a pause. The way she said it made it sound like she was confessing a weakness, something to be ashamed of. "I thought that Newton girl had poisoned you." Hilarious. I still had my eyes shut, but I was feeling normal every minute. "Honestly," she said, "I've seen corpses with better color. I was concerned that I might have to avenge your death. I bet Michaela's annoyed." "She absolutely loathes me," Edith said cheerfully. "You don't know that," I countered. But then I wondered. You should have seen her face. It was obvious. "How did you even see us? I thought you were ditching." I was pretty much fine now, though the queasiness would probably have passed faster if I'd eaten something for lunch. On the other hand, maybe it was lucky my stomach was empty. I was in my car listening to a CD. Such a normal response. It surprised me. I heard the door and opened my eyes to see the nurse with a cold compress in his hand. "Here you go, son." He laid it across my forehead. "You're looking better," he added. "I think I'm okay," I said, sitting up, just a little ringing in my ears, no spinning. The mint green walls stayed where they should. I could tell he was about to make me lie back down, but the door opened just then, and Mr. Cope stuck his head in. "We've got another one," he warned. I hitched off the cot to make room for the next victim and handed the compress back to the nurse. "There, I don't need this." And then Michaela staggered through the door, now supporting Leanne Steffens, another girl in our biology class. She was currently sallow green. Edith and I drew back against the wall to give them room. "Oh no," Edith muttered. "Get out of the office, Beau." I looked down at her, confused. "Trust me. Go." I spun and caught the door before it closed. Floundering out of the infirmary, I could feel Edith right behind me. "You actually listened," she said, surprised. I smelled the blood. Leanne wasn't sick from just watching other people. Much less embarrassing, I thought. "People can't smell blood," Edith contradicted. "I can. That's what makes me sick. It smells like rust and salt." She was staring at me with a wary expression. "What?" I asked. "It's nothing." Michaela came through the door then, glancing from Edith to me and back again. "Thanks so much for your help, Edith." "Thanks so much for your help, Edith," she said, her sickly sweet tone a pretty good indication that Edith was right about the loathing thing. "I don't know what Beau would have done without you." "Don't mention it," Edith replied with an amused smile. "You look better," Michaela said to me in the same tone. "I'm so glad." "Just keep your hand in your pocket," I cautioned her again. "It's not bleeding anymore," she told me, her voice going back to normal. "Are you coming to class?" "No, thanks. I just have to turn around and come back." "Yeah, I guess. So, are you going this weekend? To the beach?" While she spoke, she flashed a dark look toward Edith, who was standing against the cluttered counter, motionless as a sculpture, staring off into space. I didn't want to upset her more. Sure, I said I was in. We're meeting at my parents' door at 10. Her eyes flickered to Edith again, and I could tell she was worried she was giving out too much information. Her body language made it clear this wasn't an open invitation. I'll be there, I promised. I'll see you in the gym then. I'll see you in gym then, she said, moving uncertainly toward the door. Yeah, see you, I replied. She looked at me again, her round face slightly pouting, and then, as she walked through the door, her shoulders slumped. Guilt lanced through me, the same as yesterday. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it seemed like it just kept happening. I thought about looking at her disappointed face all through gym. Ugh, gym. Already like 20 minutes long. Ugh, gym, I muttered. I can take care of that. I hadn't heard Edith walk over, but now she spoke from right beside me, making me jump. Go sit down and look pale, she instructed in a whisper. That wasn't a challenge. I was usually pale, and the recent episode had left a light sheen of sweat on my face. I sat in one of the creaky folding chairs and rested my head against the wall with closed eyes. Fanning was exhausting. I heard Edith speaking softly at the counter. Mr. Cope. I hadn't heard the man return to his desk, but he answered. Yes. Bo has gym next hour, and I don't think he feels well enough. Actually, I was thinking I should drive him home. Do you mind excusing him from class? Her voice was like melting honey. I could guess how much more overwhelming her eyes would be. Do you need to be excused too, Edith? Mr. Cope's voice broke. Why couldn't I do that to people? Why couldn't I do that to people? No, I have Mr. Goff, Edith said. He won't mind. Okay, it's all taken care of. You feel better, Bo. Mr. Cope called to me. I nodded weakly, hamming it up just a bit. Can you walk, or do you want me to help you again? With her back to the receptionist, her expression turned sarcastic. I'll walk. I stood carefully, and I was still fine. She opened the door for me, her smile polite, but her eyes mocking. I felt so stupid as I walked through the door, out into the cold, fine mist that had just begun to fall. But it felt good. The first time I'd enjoyed the never-ending moisture falling out of the sky as it washed the sweat off my face. Thanks for that, I said when she'd flown me out. It's worth getting sick to miss Jim. Anytime, she promised. She stared past me into the rain. So, are you going? This Saturday, the beach trip? I was hoping she would, though it seemed unlikely. I couldn't picture her loading up to carpool with the rest of the kids from school. She didn't belong in the same world. Just wishing that she might gave me the first thrill of enthusiasm I'd felt for the outing. Where are you all going? She was still staring ahead, expressionless, but her question made me hope she was considering it. Down to La Push, to First Beach. I watched her face, trying to read it. I thought I saw her eyes narrow just slightly. She looked up at me and smiled. I really don't think I was invited. I just invited you. Let's you and I not antagonize poor Michaela any more this week. We don't want her to snap. Her eyes danced like she was enjoying the idea more than she should. Fine, whatever, I grumbled. preoccupied by the way she said you and I. I liked it more than I should. Okay, how many more pages? Oh, dear God. What time is it? That's not the time. It's already been half an hour. I might divide this into 3 parts. Okay, we're ending on page 82 today. Okay. I'm gonna divide these into 3 parts, and I'm gonna go to bed. My throat hurts really bad. And on my iPad, I don't have an option to pause the record, so I'm just gonna have to separate this into 3 parts, and I'll post them tomorrow. Well, I can start posting part 1 tonight, so part 1 will probably be out before this part and the next part that I'm going to record, which is probably going to be tomorrow. We ended on page 82. We still have 4 more pages left, but my throat's killing me. So this is going to end up in 3 parts, which I'll give information about what I'm saying right now. When I post part 1. But, yeah.